welcome into Varsity Pins for the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. I'm Ethan Schmidt, and normally I would have Isaac Shelby joining me right now, but we have a couple special guests with us today. Joining us from the dance team and the cheer team, respectively, here I'll have Presley Irwin and Lainey Rogers. Thank you guys for joining us. We're excited to have you guys out here tonight.
Thank you for having us. I'm super excited for today.
Yes, me as well.
All right, so one of the reasons why Coach Shelby wanted you guys to come on and talk a little bit about what you guys do for like football, and as someone who played football here, it's always one of those things that we're always excited to have the people who make Friday nights special, right? Like y'all are at every Friday night game. You're always there, whether it's cheering, dancing, all those good things. Like you guys are there, and it's been like that. That tradition's been there forever at Clarksville High School. So what's it like, and we can start with Presley here, what's it like for y'all on a Friday night to be able to come out, perform in front of the student section, and then also cheer on the Wildcats?
Well, it's really fun, and it's a great way to just show our support for the school and kind of help engage the kids our age to want to come, and there's a show, and there's football, and it's a lot of fun to be out there and support the team and get to cheer on our student section and the football team.
Lainey, same question. I mean, what's it like, obviously, from the cheer perspective of it? Because I know you guys, you go on the road, too, so y'all get on the bus, you'll travel to the away game, stuff like that. What's it like to be a part of just that entire, just, like, system for us?
Well, for me as a cheerleader, I think it's, like, cool to see everyone, like, unify. Like, we travel with them, so then we're just there to cheer them on every single game, win or lose. We're there, we do the traditions, and we're just always there for them.
Yeah, we're very thankful that, you know, both those teams come out and are a part of that, because some of you guys know some of those away games, especially, we don't have a lot of fans that will travel, and this year we're back into where we'll travel to a couple metro schools, some Murfreesboro schools, so sometimes you're the only fans we have out there on the sideline, so we do appreciate that. One of the things that we incorporated over the past couple of years here was just kind of adding y'all into the circle of life. And so obviously for those who are listening, if you don't know what the circle of life is, or maybe we called it something different when other people were here, there's 119 years of tradition. We've called it everything, just from Cat Jacks to whatever it is. But we added y'all in there on that experience. What's it like to be a part of that? I know the guys smell bad, so don't, like, I coach them. I know they smell bad. You can't lie to me on that. What's it like to be a part of that, though, on a Friday night?
It's, I think, a great way to show that, like, we're all very, like, connected, and it's like a family, and it's very fun to just be a part of something like that, and to be with the football players and kind of have a little bit of a warm-up to show that we're all in it together.
I think it's just a great way to show that the school is like one really big family, and we're always going to be there to support each other throughout the entire game.
I like that. I appreciate that. Family's always a huge thing for us as well. Let's talk about y'all's preparation, though, because, like, it's one thing to, like, I know what our preparation is, right? I know what we go through looking at plays, stuff like that, but, like, leading up to a game, like, what's dance team's preparation and what's cheer team's preparation for a Friday night?
It's a lot of dancing and a lot of hours in our little dance team building, just trying to get all the little mess ups out or anything, and we just really work to try to represent our school well and have fun out there and show that it's fun what we're doing, because we all enjoy it so much, and it's our favorite thing to do.
For us, it's a lot of, like, checking things. Like, we have over 90 cheers that we do. Every football game and every single one of them has to be called, so you have to be able to know the call and, like, what motion goes after what and all that, and the words, because it's very important. And then we do our band dances and all of that, and you have to know fight song, like, by heart. And I think that's very unifying, again, that everyone knows fight song.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think a lot of times people are just like, oh, well, you go out and cheer. But like you said, I mean, 92, that's a lot. I got guys who are sitting out here right now who can't remember 8 plays. So 92 cheers, and we have 8 plays that we run, and some of these guys don't know where they're supposed to line up at. So that's very impressive that that's something that you guys are able to do. Coach Shelby just looked at me and was like, I don't know what to tell you. So that's really cool that you guys have so much that you have to remember, choreography, things like that go into it as well. But for, like, y'all, it doesn't end. Like, for us, we get to football season and it ends for us at some point. For y'all, it's going through the winter, through the fall, or through the spring. So, like, in the winter, you have basketball that you're cheering on, both girls and boys basketball. Obviously, competition season kicks up in the spring. So, like, being a part of these teams, like, what's that process like for you to go from like, all right, well, we're not done just after football. We got so much more that we have to look forward to.
Well, at the end of the day, we all love what we do, and we love getting the opportunity to stay throughout the whole seasons, every single season that our school does, and show that we're not just there for football, we're also there for basketball and pep rallies and all the things. So it's very fun to kind of just show our support and the spirit and show our hard work more than just one season out of the year.
So for us, cheer is a year-round sport. You go from March to March. And ours is football, basketball, and comp team. So at the end of the year in February, we're going for this very pretty white jacket that we all want, and we really want first. So please pray for us for that. But it's just really a commitment that you have to wholeheartedly believe in and just keep going throughout the year.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mentioned this earlier because obviously, Katie Shelby, who is with y'all now in the cheer and with the cheer team, one of the things that I always mentioned her was like when I was a student here, I didn't feel that like I felt like it was just cheer and dance would just do the games, and that was kind of it. Like, not trying to bash on anybody, that was just kind of what it was like. And we appreciate that, right? Like, we appreciate that support because like it was very much about the school. But it's really cool to see when y'all go on and are able to represent us, in Florida and across, across Middle Tennessee and the state as well. It's really cool to see what y'all do as well because, like you mentioned, like it's all about being that one big family. So I think it's really cool that you guys are able to continue on and actually compete, and that is something that your programs have adapted to be like, no, like we're happy to cheer you on to your success, but like we also want to show what we can do. And I think that's super cool that you guys have really put an emphasis on that in your guys' programs for certain. Last thing that I kind of want to hit on here, and then we'll move on. Coach Shelby will come back up here and join me and all that good stuff. But for you guys, at the very end, I know like one of the big traditions has always just kind of been that ending, sing the alma mater, win or loss. I mean, you're there with some of our guys who are playing their last ever games. Sometimes you have and I get football is like a different animal because you guys aren't inside a gym. There's no heat or air conditioning. Like it's either hot or cold or rainy. Like you get all the same thing that we do when y'all are out there. What's it like to be a part of that kind of like last moment, sing to the band, high is high, we win the game, low of low, losing the game. What's that like?
It's always a moment that you kind of just look back and like you realize how like thankful you are to be a part of a school like we have and to be a part of a organization that we all kind of like collaborate in ways, and it's not just football does this, cheer does this, dance does this. So it's really fun to just hear it, and it really is like a family, and it's very fun to be a part of.
Like Presley said, it's just such a big like all moment, and like we are such a big family, and we're always going to have each other's backs. Win or loss, we're just going to be there for each other, sing the words, and be happy afterwards.
Fantastic. Get a big round of applause for these two. They did a fantastic job. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. We can't wait to see you guys out on the sidelines and on the field as well. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, Isaac Shelby is going to come up here and join me. We're going to talk a little bit about the Mount Juliet scrimmage when we come back. And welcome back to the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. I'm joined by the head coach of the Clarksville High School Wildcats, Coach Isaac Shelby. Coach, last week we got a chance to scrimmage Mount Juliet at home. You talk about how important that scrimmage is. You mentioned just kind of the physicality that we know we're going to get when we see Mount Juliet in the preseason and in the scrimmage season. What was your kind of thoughts leaving that Friday night scrimmage?
I thought we matched their physicality, and that's the only thing we were really looking for. Usually when we do that, we have a good year. Usually when we don't, we have a bad year. So, we're looking forward to that, as a measuring stick of what we're doing. But I thought the kids played well. I thought they hustled around. I thought the defense was really good. Still missing a couple pieces there because of injury, but once those guys get back together, hopefully all the injuries are out of the way now. But we've got some guys missing, but hopefully we get them all back together. It'll be in good shape.
Absolutely. I think that as well. We got some good, diagnosis over the week for a couple of guys, and we see some guys that are coming back and getting ready. So excited to see that. During this time, I think it's one of those weird times of the year because we are playing football. Nothing matters other than can you test your toughness kind of thing. As a coach, this has to be like a frustrating time of the year for you. What is how do you get through this? Because I know you can get so much out of each player, but during the season when everything's on the line, it's a little bit different. Of a way to get at somebody. Now, they're looking at you and like, Coach, but we're doing our thing, but it doesn't matter until 2 weeks from now. Yeah,
that kind of happened the other day. It does matter when we're practicing, no matter how many weeks it is away. But we had a bad one on Monday, and hopefully we can bounce back from that. But it's tough because with the heat restrictions and heat rules, you get all ready to go, and then you got to go in and say, hey guys, take your cleats off, we're going to the gym, or you get in the gym and go, hey, go put your cleats on. The temperature dropped half a degree or something. It's tough on them. I'm a very pattern person. I think everyone that knows me knows that, and I don't like being out of my pattern. And these couple of weeks, you're usually out of your pattern, and we're actually more out of it now than normal. The Springfield week's usually been the week where we've had the most heat issues in the past 3 or 4 years, and we're having them earlier this year. So maybe it'll just get out of the way. But we just want to get back to our pattern if we can, and I think some of that will solve the problems that we had Monday.
Coach, I wanted to mention a little bit here because you have a couple of new volunteers that have come out and started helping and assisting you here. Couple of former players in the program, which is really, really cool. We've seen Nick Edwards and Kyler Edwards come out. No relation there, but we've seen those two come out. What's it mean to you as the head coach of this program you instilled so much in them for 4 years as players. They went off. Both of them played college football, and now you can bring them back into the program, whether it's for a year or a couple years.
Yeah, I think it means I'm old. Because those guys are coming back, and Nick played at UT Martin, Kyler played at Maryville, and they want to get back involved in the community. They both moved back here, so there's some things we're working out on that. But I think they'll be both valuable additions to our staff. Because even if you played for us, you kind of know how. If you played for us, you know how I operate. So some days it may be bad for a particular kid, but those guys can throw their arm around you and be like, hey, there's another day tomorrow. Even today, we hate doing the dress list, but it's just something we had to do. And I just brought both of those guys over there with the kids that didn't make the dress list for this week and say, hey, you have another week to do this. Next week's a different dress list. And you could tell some of them were upset and such or whatever, but it's good to have guys like that there that can say, hey, I've done this. I've been in that spot. I've not made the dress list before. I have made the dress list before. My friends did and I didn't, or vice versa or whatever. So just having those guys there are really good, and they're both really smart and they're good hard workers. So, and they're similar personality to us, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. What obviously I know Nick played offensive line. Yeah. Kyler played by his senior year was kind of playing tight end for us. What do you have them, or is there a specific thing you're having them work with or trying to get them kind of understanding with?
Not really yet, because they both just got back. So we're in the process of getting those guys kind of through that and seeing where they can help. I think the hardest thing, obviously, is the offensive line. And we have a great offensive line coach. I wouldn't trade Jim Irwin for anybody in the world. But when you're coaching 5 guys, I'm looking at the point of attack, he's looking at the point of attack, and then somebody leaks in the backside, then we don't like that. And then, we end up just screaming at each other about, how somebody could possibly leak through the backside. So if you have extra set of eyes on that to help, that usually helps out a lot.
Yeah, and again, I think this is a kind of cool thing because I've mentioned this before to you. I don't think I've ever mentioned on the podcast is one of the really cool things that we're able to do as a program with some of the guys who have left is we don't really change much of what we do. We have different formations. You have different players come in. So you try to match what you can with them. But when you look at someone like Nick, if you tell him, go write down how we run this, he still knows how to do it. And he's been gone for 4 years.
I've said before, like in high school, you can't reinvent the wheel every year or you never develop anybody. So you have to have some bones of what you do offensively, defensively, and special teams wise. But at the same time, it's not like a strict thing. Like it's a living organism that like grows, constantly. So some years you can add a little bit more of certain things and you can decrease some certain things, but it has to have some bones and structure, or you're just constantly, it's just new all the time and it never stops, and that doesn't work. Usually when you see good high school programs, it's staffs that have been together for a long time and they have like an identity to what they do and like a culture to what they do. So I think our kids understand our culture, given like 1 day a week with this group that turns into a screaming fest. So those are things that we just have to continue to work through, I think.
All right, Coach, our special guest tonight, obviously we had the cheer and dance team both represented. Our special football player is going to be Dawson Smith. Coley Reynolds picked him last week. Talk a little bit about Dawson, and then, of course, we'll bring him in here in just a moment.
Yeah, but before Dawson comes up, a really good guy. We let the kids vote on captains every year, and each kid gets to pick 4 people on the roster. We just hand them a roster and say, hey, these are our captains. And then once they do it, we go in the room, we get on the board, and we tally it up. And it was shocking to me. I mean, I knew Dawson would be in that batch, but their vote doesn't count unless they write a sentence about why they're voting for that. And it was just shocking to me the amount of people that wrote things and what they wrote about Dawson. It was stuff like. It was like you'll pull up a paper and it'll be a kid and you'll be like, there's no way he even knows Dawson. And then the sentence that he wrote is Dawson cares about me as a person, or Dawson went out of his way to help me do this or that. And I think that's why he's the number one. He was the number one vote getter for captain, which also includes the pregame thing that we do every year. So that's really a big thing. I could go back and remember every single person that's done those pregame things back for 20 years. You know what I mean? And it's special. He led that far and away, as almost a unanimous captain.
Absolutely. We're going to say a couple thank yous here for the podcast. We want to start off by thanking Varsity Pens. Again, we're live at Varsity Pens. You can come out and join us every Wednesday. We get started about 6:15. I know Coach Lawrence wants us right at 6.
He does.
Because I advertise right at 6.
Yeah, he texts me.
But I just make sure that I know he's watching. So
yeah.
I make sure that he sits there for those 15 minutes, and I know he's listening right now. So, of course, we start about 6:15 when we get this going. But, again, thank you to Varsity Pens for letting us come out here. Of course, Sheepdog Custom Ink. Coach Conway's in the actual audience with us. He got our great banner that you're seeing out here. He made that for me. He's made shirts for us. He does a lot of good. I mean, the shirt I'm wearing right now is one of the shirts that he has.
I think mine too.
Yeah, I mean, we just
That's most of my shirts, really.
Yes, he provides, make sure that you and I don't walk around shirtless.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what he does for us, and that's a good thing for everybody that's listening at home right now. And, of course, we also got a really big sponsor in today. We want to give a shout-out to Wyatt Johnson, who gave us a big shout-out, and we're going to have them incorporated a lot into our game day stuff each week, so we want to give them a shout-out on the podcast as well and thank them for their donation to the program, and we'll have more as we continue to go on through here.
Yeah, Wyatt Johnson. When you get a car lot that backs a high school team, I think that's a win-win for both spots. There's a lot of people, the first-time drivers, that you may consider Wyatt Johnson that didn't before. So I think that's a win for both spots.
Absolutely. And if you still want to donate to the program, you definitely can. You can reach out to any of our coaches on the coaching staff and kind of get there. I think Coach Zilkowski kind of handles a lot of that.
Yeah, he does most of it, especially this time of year.
So Coach Z is a guy to reach out to. He'll take care of you and get you ready to go. If you want to sign around the field, our home game starts next week, and that sign sits out at the field for every home game for football, junior pro, middle school, all the band competitions, girls soccer, boys soccer. It's out there the entire season. That's crazy to think you get advertising for the entire school year, which is really cool.
Yeah, it never comes down. And by the way, I tried that with my daughter the other day. That little bowling thing that's harder than it looks.
All right.
I thought that looked really simple. It's not simple. It was hard to get all 10 of those
I called
down
it duck bowling all last week. I think it's
I don't know
duck
why it's
pin
called
bowling.
duck bowling.
It's duck pin bowling.
Well, there's no ducks over there. But
That's
it's
what I
harder
said
than you
too.
think. I promise you that.
All right, we're going to step aside. Coach Shelby and I are going to be joined here by Dawson Smith, who's going to talk a little bit about this upcoming game. We'll talk to Dawson a little bit more about everything Clarksville High School when we come back. welcome back to the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. As promised, we are joined by Dawson Smith, who just jumps up here with us. Coach just talked really highly about you, Dawson. First and foremost, welcome into the show. Also, I want to say congratulations on a great run to the state championship in baseball. We talked to Coley last week as well. I think that's something that really needs to be kind of mentioned, that you started that game. You had a great outing. I know it wasn't, the way, and you can't look at it individually because I know you're a team guy. I've coached you for 4 years. I know you're a team guy. But, to be able to go to that stage and to be able to accomplish a feat of even finishing as state runner-up is really awesome. So, first and foremost, congratulations to that, man.
I appreciate that, yeah. Really, thank you.
Dawson's an old school guy. He's basketball too. More people should do that.
Yes,
he's as Clarksville High as it gets. You can find Dawson playing football, basketball, baseball. If there was a fourth season, he'd probably do something in the fourth season. But more kids should do that. I'm proud of him and his successes in football and other sports.
Probably the duck pin bowling. I think he'd be good at it.
No, he can't do that. There's no way.
We'll see.
It's harder than it looks, I'm telling you.
All right, Dawson. So talk a little bit about your experience at Clarksville High School. You've been here, as Coach said, you're at 4 years. You've been a part of our program. You've been coached by really, and I'm going to say this because I'm right, and I know I'm right on this. You've been coached by the three best coaches in Clarksville, Montgomery County. There's no doubt about it in their respective sports, with Isaac Shelby, Ted Young, and Coach Hetland. What's it like to, one, kind of do that as an athlete, to play three sports all season long and not really give yourself a break?
Now, at some point, you just got to, bear with it. Sometimes it's going to be hard knowing, you're not going to have a break. But at the end of the day, if you really love it and you truly love it, then, you'll follow through with it. And again, like you said, I have, the three best coaches. It'd be hard if I had a coach, I didn't like or didn't trust. But since I can trust my coaches, I just trust them and then, do what they tell me and then live to love the game. It's a part of life. You just got to do what you got to do. And, as long as I keep working hard and trusting my coaches, I think, it'll keep going my way.
I think to add on to that, somebody, a college coach asked me one time if a kid was coachable, and I thought to myself, I don't know. He might be. He only plays one sport, and I'm the only person who's ever coached him. So it's coachable to me, but you might be completely different. It might not be coachable at all, Coachability is a thing that, if you can listen to us holler at you for, 3 or 4 months, and then go listen to Ted Young, and then turn around and listen to Brian Hetland, that makes you coachable because you can deal with me and Ted and Brian. So and we all don't have the exact same style. So I think that's what makes the kids coachable nowadays, and I don't think enough of them do it.
All right, cool. I'm going to put you on the spot, Dawson. Which one's your favorite to be coached by?
Which one my favorite to be coached by?
Yeah. Put you right on the spot right here.
Football season.
Coach Shelby.
Yeah.
There we go.
He just doesn't want to run anything tomorrow. That's why. Well, I guess we're in a game, so it doesn't matter. But he doesn't want to run on Monday for certain.
We can make something happen.
Absolutely. That's a good answer, though, Dawson. We appreciate that. What's the kind of take yourself through football season? How does football season prepare you for basketball? How does it prepare you for baseball? What do you do? I know it's different things, obviously, but what do you think you get from football that helps you in those other sports?
I think football personally helps me the most, especially with the lifting side of it. But I think the mentally and the toughness between all the practices, because as Coach Shelby pointed out the other day in practice, it's the roughest practice I think in any sport, between pads and the heat. It's really getting me prepared for basketball and then baseball on that side of the toughness and being able to push through, and then also with the lifting, keeping me in shape, keeping me in good conditions for those sports to come in. So it just keeps me right in shape for those things to come on.
What's it? I mean, I know for for years we've always had guys who will either play baseball and football or basketball, and they'll do kind of those two things. But when you get a chance to push through and kind of get those moments with basketball. And you and I have had this conversation before. Your dad has looked at you before and been like, are you sure you want to do all three of these? What do you tell yourself? Because, I know you were talking about being, tough mentally and stuff like that and just say, sometimes you just have to do it. But, why do you do it, I think is the big question.
I do it just because I love the game. And also, I've talked to you about this, about how I couldn't be able to see myself being in the stands of those games, when I played those sports and look down and be like, that needs to be me out there, and see them mess up or something. No, that should be me instead. But I know I can step out and just part of the love for the game. I love basketball, I love baseball, and I love football. I've played basically my whole life, and not football as much, but I just love the sports and love not having a break and love keep going.
I like it because I think quitting is contagious in life, and I think when you start quitting stuff, it's really hard to it's really hard to quit something until you do it, and then once you quit it, like it just gets in you, and it makes everything else easier to quit. So the more guys that can continue to play through sports, and then you have to deal with the environment too. Like in football, sometimes, like in basketball, it's not quite as physical of a sport, so sometimes you have more initial success in basketball because it doesn't require as much physicality, but you turn into a better football player later. But like I run the clock at basketball games, and I go to a lot of baseball games. Like just being in that environment helps you out. Like if I see a kid that maybe as a sophomore he didn't play for us, but as a junior I think he's going to, and I also see him as in a sophomore basketball game against Rossview, being able to handle that environment, that counts to me. Like I know he can handle that environment because I'm sitting in that environment with him, and it's difficult. And honestly, the basketball is a harder environment sometimes because it's so close together. You can hear more, like the people are on top of you. It just makes you a better athlete overall. I think you're a better person at the end.
So Dawson, you this year your brother's playing. You got your little brother playing on the team with you, which is my older brother was also 3 years older than me, so I had a chance to we were separated at a school, so we couldn't go like be on the varsity team together. But you have a younger brother who is getting a chance to get some varsity reps, some varsity time. You guys obviously. You've known him since the day he was born. That's crazy to think that you have a person on the team you've known since the day they came home from the hospital. What's that like for you to be able to have your little brother there with you this season?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool and a pretty good privilege. At first, the first thought was, I may be a little annoyed and paranoid. I have a little sibling coming up, but then, once we started getting into things, I was like, I really kind of enjoy this, and I feel like I could take this as an opportunity, get to know him better in that scenario with the football team, but also be able like when he's a senior and be able to lead the team in those scenarios. So I think it's pretty cool.
All Smiths are not the same. Dawson and Harrison. Harrison's a great kid. He does have some Dennis the Menace qualities to him. But all Smiths are not the same.
Well, I know that your mom's sitting out there, and he can freely kind of hit his brother now without any like repercussions. Like he's not going to go and get in trouble if he. Well,
Harrison will hit back too.
That's true.
That fight most of the time, but he will hit back. He's not going to sit there just.
Austin, obviously going into your senior year, what's kind of been your expectation for this team? What has been kind of like your mentality? We're going to have success this year.
Yeah, I think for me, the expectation is just I want to focus on each game by game, and focus. All right, we're going to Blackman week 1 is probably going to be the hardest game like in our schedule. But we got to lock in and focus up on each team each week, and we got to be like, okay, what can we do to beat this team this week, and then we'll focus on next team's week. If we lose, just got to keep our heads up. But at the end of the day,
That's a 3-sport athlete talking about compartmentalizing. I know what he's talking about, but that's really cool because he's right about really neat.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Dawson, the question that we're going to ask you is, who do you want on the show next week? Now, I'll tell you this much. Coach Shelby has some caveats.
I've got a veto button.
He's got a veto button. I'm not the biggest fan of the veto button. I saw this. I know people have been politicking with you. They didn't get to politicking with you. Hey, I should be on the show. Hey, I should be on the show. Do you know, and who do you think deserves to be on the show sitting where you're sitting right now?
Hollywood.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
I like that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know.
Next week, bring him in here, have him talk a little bit, transfer. And I like that.
Yeah,
and
that's a good idea.
And this is, again, not to like just keep harping on who Dawson is. He could have chose somebody's 3 years.
Yeah.
He chose the new guy. I really like that.
Yeah, Hollywood Johnson, transfer from Memphis. Really excited about him. Played good last week.
Absolutely. Fired up to get that. Well, Dawson, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. Let's get a round of applause for Dawson here. Fantastic that he jumped up here with us. Man, we appreciate you. We appreciate all you do for Clarksville High School. We're going to step aside when we come back. Coach Shelby and I are going to wrap things up. We're going to talk a little bit about our upcoming opponent. We'll be at Vanderbilt tomorrow. We'll be playing on Vanderbilt's field. We'll be taking on one of the premier squads in the state of Tennessee. We'll have that and more in just a moment. Final segment here. We're going to talk a little bit about our upcoming opponent. You mentioned it with us, was that we're going to have this really cool opportunity. It's very unique. We're going to go to Vanderbilt, and we're going to take on Oakland. Yeah. And for some people, if you're not from the area, or maybe you don't follow high school football in this area, or maybe you don't know who Oakland is, I mean, you may have been living under a rock, but they are a very, very tough opponent. They've won, I believe, 5 of the last 6 state championships in Class 6A. They put a lot of guys into college. They get a couple guys into the pros, things like that. They're really usually highly ranked with their actual players. Talk a little bit about this decision to kind of go and take on a team like Oakland and this opportunity that we have in front of us.
Well, we had a scrimmage opponent back out on us. We were looking for a scrimmage. It's hard to find a scrimmage. You got to find somebody that you trust, somebody that you can work with. And Kevin called, and there's not a bunch of people lining up scrimmages right now anyway. So we will go ahead and go with Oakland. They're one of the elite programs in 6A in Tennessee. If you want to be one of the elite programs in Tennessee, you have to play one of the elite programs and earn your way up that ladder.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I mean, you talk about, for the past couple of years, people have looked at the schedule and they've made the comments of, well, you're not playing the tough teams. You're not playing the tough teams. And again, our region was 8 teams in Clarksville. And you've said this before, you can't coach everybody in Clarksville.
Yeah.
Like, we get that. We understand that concept. But to have someone to then say, like, well, you know what? Hey, we got to take on those tough teams. We got to make sure that we are putting that in there. And we have the guys who we feel physically are going to step in and actually play that game and not look at it and say, oh, this is Oakland.
Yeah, it's what you have to do to take the next step, Oakland's the most talented team in the state of Tennessee, probably. They're coached incredibly well by Kevin Creasy. It's an elite program, and if we want to take that step, then we have to go play that kind of competition. We're really excited about it. We should practice a little better this week, but we're excited about it, and we'll go take on that. Go take on them at Vandy.
So the idea to do it at Vanderbilt, how'd that get brought in? I don't think you and I have talked about that yet.
So it's the bus situation. We can't get a bus to Oakland in a reasonable amount of time to play a high school scrimmage, and Oakland can't get a bus here. So we just kind of decided, let's try to meet in the middle. Vanderbilt's going to help us out a little bit. There is going to be a game admission tomorrow. It's going to be $5 cash. So there'll be some people taking the gate there, and that's just to offset the custodial fees and stuff at Vanderbilt. So it's a neat thing. It'll be a cool experience for the kids. Hopefully something they can remember, and it'll be a really good chance to play a great competition. It's coached by one of the legendary coaches, in my opinion, in Tennessee football right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of the guys are probably more. I think in years past we probably would have heard a little bit more. I don't know if we can do it, but I think our guys are genuinely excited from what we can see, and I think that's a good thing to go into this, being excited to take on better competition.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're itching to go. It'll be interesting to see how fast we start. and kind of go from there. Obviously, we got a few injuries right now, so things may look a little different than normal, and that's okay. Different is different, but it's not necessarily bad. So, we'll kind of see how that works out. But I'm excited to see what our guys can do against that level of competition.
Absolutely, and then to kind of pivot off that. Taking on this Oakland team, then you have Blackman that first week, and we're going to turn around. I know we'll talk more about them next week, but looking at Oakland, kind of what's your, I guess, goals, your mindset of being like, this is what we need to accomplish tomorrow to set us up for success week one?
I don't think it's like a yardage thing. I don't think it's a points thing. It's the same as Mount Juliet. Like the yards you gain don't matter. The points you score, the points you give up don't matter. I really don't care anything about that in a scrimmage. I care about how we play, not what the result of it is. And I think we'll be able to tell a lot about our team when we go out there, how we go out there, how we start, how we deal with adversity, because we're going to get adversity. I think it's going to show some flaws in us, and then we'll have time to fix those flaws after that. But if you don't go scrimmage those guys, then they don't show you what those flaws are.
I know we talked a little bit about the guest for next week is going to be Hollywood. Something that we talked about, and a challenge that we're kind of putting out. That 2000 team, your senior year team, the 2000 team, the 2001 graduating class, we're kind of challenging them. We want them out next week on Wednesday. I know some of them are coming from out of town to be there for the induction Hall of Fame for Blackman, but we want to put that challenge out now. We want to see those guys next week as our audience out here.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get out here. Marcus is kind of working on that. He was on the team with us. Justin was a year younger than us, but he's helping him on that too. So if we get those guys out here, that'll be pretty cool. Just so you know how much Clarksville High football has grown in the last 25 years since we were players.
Absolutely. Coach, message to the fans and the faithful about next week, about tomorrow night. Message to them about coming out and supporting the Wildcats.
It's going to be cool. I don't remember the last time this has happened in our program to go play in SEC Stadium. It'll be really neat. It'll be something the kids remember. Come out and watch the kids. Anytime you get to play, anytime you get to play a team as quality as Oakland, it's a good thing for your program, I think.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, again, we want to thank you for your time. Give a shout out again to our sponsors for this. We want to thank Varsity Pins for letting us use this location. We're having a fun time on the bus.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a pretty cool setup. I know, like Dawson and Coley both had a duck when they got in there. You and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, but I feel like a giant on the bus. One other thing I was going to thank was, thank the cheerleaders and the dance team for coming out. I don't think they realize how much in the community they matter. I know my daughter's around with them a lot, but it was after football season last year. She has a little tiny goal in the basement, and she's around the cheerleaders all the time, and they all do the cheers. And I shot a ball, and I missed it. And she looked at me, and she said, hairball, blick, blick. And I said, what are you talking about? She said, Daddy, that was a hairball. And I said, it's not a hairball, it's an air ball. And it's not a blick either, it's a brick. And she just chants every time I miss. Hairball, blick, blick. You can't stop it. It's ridiculous.
Katie's smiling. She's fired up for it. She can't wait for all those years of more and more cheer for certain.
I try not to shoot hairballs in the basement.
We're gonna have a really good. We're gonna have a really good in a couple years. A really good cheerleader and flag football player at Clarksville High School. We already know that. So I'm fired up for that. Again, want to thank Varsity Pins for letting us in here, having the bus. Again, our overall sponsor, and a big thank you to Sheepdog Custom Ink and Coach Stephen Conway for all he does for the program. And again, Wyatt Johnson, again, another thank you and shout out to them as they become a sponsor with us this season as well. Coach, fired up. Thank you for your time as well. I do want to say that as well.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Absolutely. Well, again, it's been another great week of the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. Remember, you can come out to Varsity Pins every Wednesday. We're telling people to get here around 6. We go live about 6:15 is when we get things started. But again, we want to see you here if you can make it out. I appreciate everybody who watched it on the stream. Again, a shout out to Middle Tennessee Youth Sport, Mr. Greg Reynolds and Miss Sarah Reynolds, who are out here right now. They're putting this live stream on, so we appreciate them for all they do. They do the live stream for the games as well. We wouldn't have that without them. So a big thank you to them, and go go ahead and subscribe to their page because they also do soccer, they do baseball, they do a couple basketball games for the high school as well. I mean, that's something that not a lot of schools have that, so we're thankful we have
nobody
that.
does. We're lucky.
Absolutely. But again, another great week for the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. We hope that you join us next time, and we hope that you can come out next time when we're here at Varsity Pens. Thank you so much for listening, and I didn't let you say it last week. I cut you off too quick.
Go Cats.
There we go.
Yeah,
Go Cats.
go Cats.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, and we hope that you join us again next week.